Now, this report I'd love to share with you. It's one of my favorites. So I'm going to spend an entire video on it. I'm promising I'm going to keep it only around 10 minutes, which I'm going to really try hard to do because this report is amazing. It has 40 pages in it. On this website, Homesnoop Property Reports, you can download an example report for free. But if you look at the top of this page, you can see that you can sign up today to get your first report free. So not only get a sample report, but you also get your first report for free. Now, let me take you through the pricing. $29 for a report. However, you can buy a 5-report pack for $79. And the truth of the matter is that if you're looking for a home, you should probably only really get truly serious about 5 houses or less. And so $79 should be money well spent if you're looking for a home and you really only just want to get one of these reports for a home that you're going to bid at auction or you're really going to put in a strong offer for. So let's get into it. This is the first page of the Homesnoop property report. And you can see that on the front page, it's got the property address that we're looking at down here and some of the elements that are covered in the report. So let's go to page 2. Page 2 is great because it gives you a little bit of an information about how to use this report. And it's aimed at giving property buyers a fast, easy, and accessible way to understand any potential considerations for a property they are interested in purchasing. It's made for you. I wish I'd invented this myself. It's a great report. Next page. It gives you a property summary. So at the top right-hand corner, it's got the address. And then you can see it's got the selected lots, the area zone, and so forth. Now, there's 2 categories underneath here, and you can see there's this yellow exclamation mark, which says, basically, this is something to pay attention to, alert, information. And so these things here, it's identified as you need to pay attention to. It's identified that these are applicable to the property. And then the bottom ones are not applicable to the property. And so there's a green tick there. Like, for example, there is no easements on the property. So it's down here in the green tick. However, up here, there is road noise on the property. So let's have a look inside and see what we find out. Planning and development. This is the zoning. Now it shows here, I love this about this report. It's got the legend here. So you can see instantly the different colors and what applies. And so you can see this property here is zoned character residential. And right next door to it is something that is low density residential. This home is not character residential, but the one in question is. And you can see across here, there's some recreation and open space. So that's nice to know that you've got a park right around the corner. So you've not only got this beautiful big tree in the front yard here, but there's parkland nearby. Let's have a look at some more characteristics of this particular property. Easements. You can see, I love it again. It's highlighted bright yellow where the easements are, and there's no easements near the property. Excellent. Just that gorgeous, huge, big tree out the front. You might decide you don't like that tree and you might be interested in removing it. Let's find out a bit more about that tree as we go through the report. The building is pre-1911. So this page is about whether or not it's pre-1911. It's got a green tick there, which means the property is not subject to a pre-1911 building overlay. You can download this and read it for yourself, but I do love the way it explains each item that it's reporting on. So you can clearly see here, houses built before the year 1911 are given special protections under council regulations in order to preserve the historic Australian architecture and the city's local history. So you can see that this is not subject to that. In other words, this building was not built before pre-1911. And it's not got a heritage overlay on it. Heritage development restrictions are put in place to protect and conserve. So next page, traditional building character. So it's got the exclamation mark there that you can see here. And it's showing you that there's this pink netting over it, which means neighborhood character. What does that mean? We're wondering, what does neighborhood character mean? So I love the way it explains everything on these pages. I'm promising you it's going to be under 10 minutes. So I'm not hanging around. I love the way that it pulls up historic imagery to show you different interesting information about the home. So this is showing that in 1946, it hardly looks like there's a home there. So that's interesting. It's showing that there's no home there. It looks like an empty block. So it's got no tick and it's got no exclamation mark. So that's interesting. The software's pulled up. Note that the image may be slightly misaligned to the property. Oh, there you go. So I'd be interested in lining that up and making sure that that is actually that block and not that block. Next page. Dwelling house overlay. All right, so we can see that this is a dwelling house character. It's not got an exclamation mark next to it or a tick. Dwelling house overlay identifies areas with specific requirements for houses. All right, so it'll tell you how many stories that you're allowed to have in the home. Is it allowed to be 2 stories, 3 stories, and different things such as height. Next page. Future residential development. Are there any future residential developments right next to this property or nearby? And it will show you with the legend there. So to help you understand, that one's obviously no. Land contours. That's really good information to know. Now you can see here, it's going 9, 8, 7, 6. It's getting lower and lower into this general direction. So this street is higher than this area here. Next. Acid sulfate soils. I'm just going to quickly read this to you because it's really interesting. You may not have come across this before. In Brisbane, acid sulfate soils are frequently found in former tidal, marsh and mangrove regions. And the soils are fine unless they're disturbed. And once they mix with oxygen and water, they will produce sulfuric acid. Good to know. Next page. Biodiversity areas. Again, you can read that and find out if there's any koala habitats near or on that property as well. Protected vegetation. Oh, look at that lovely tree. This property contains protected significant urban vegetation. So it might be some huge big fig tree that was planted there ages ago. And you can also see that parkland I was talking about before is council vegetation if you look at this legend here. Next. Significant landscape. Individual or group significant landscape tree site. Next. Environment, flooding overall risk. So this is just a look at the chances of this property being flooded. And it's saying that this property has a 1 in 100 year chance of being flooded. That means it's a 1% chance of flooding any given year. Does that make sense? That you need to read that a few times to get the gist of it. So let's have a look at flooding, because in Brisbane, there are 3 different types of flooding. You can get flooding from the Brisbane River, flooding from local creeks, or flooding because it's raining so hard that the water can't be absorbed by the soil or drained through the road system fast enough, and then it just starts to build up in low levels. Let's have a look at how this one stands up. So this page here is showing you flooding from the Brisbane River and the planning area associated with the water that's flowing through. And so remember how we talked about the contours and how it was getting lower and lower here? We can see that therefore, because it's a low area, water's going to go through there. Let's have a look at the next page. So that's the Brisbane River flooding. This is flooding from creeks and waterways, not the Brisbane River. So that's safe from that. However, you can see nearby there's overland flow, and that's just water that can't drain away fast enough. Now the next page is interesting. This is the flooding from historic major flooding events that we've had in Brisbane. So you can see the colours there, and you can see that in 2011 in particular, this property here was affected. Whether or not the water got into the home would have to be something you'd investigate, because it does talk about flood levels, and you can get a report from the council that talks about levels, and you can also have a look at the building itself and inspect if there has been flood damage in the past. The sales agent could advise you of that, and if there's been modifications made to the building to protect and prepare it for future floodings. So there you go. That's interesting that it shows you those 3 major events, and one of them was only like 3 years ago. It's pretty cool that they've got that information there. So showing that this one here in particular was the 2011 flood. Now they happen to have imagery of the 2011 flood. Isn't it good? It's a great report, isn't it? It's got the imagery there. So you can see, well, the water was here because you can see it's in these low-lying areas. Did it come into the home? Did it come up this far, or did it just go under the home? That's something you'd have to investigate more fully yourself. Next, coastal hazards. If your property was near the beach and there were influences from water inundation or tidal influence or erosion from the ocean, then, and being on a coast, this would then apply to that property. Bushfire. Now, this property is not in a bushfire zone, although if you are, it will limit developments that you may be able to make to that property, the type of building materials that you can use, and the placement of a shed or a granny flat or a swimming pool in different positions around the block of land as well. So you need to look into that. If you are in a bushfire zone, don't just assume that you'll be able to put something down there, because the bushfire overlay may limit your use of that property in the future. Next, utilities. So it's showing you here electricity. It's showing down here 2 brown dots. They're electricity poles. It says here. And then this orange line here is low voltage cable or line. It's not saying if it's underground or overground, but I'm assuming therefore there are poles that the electricity is not underground. But your physical inspection would show that. No, of course. Here's your water. So you can see the water supply to the street and then the water supply to the block. And then you've got sewage. You can see there's no sewage main on this block, but this is where it comes into the property. You've got then stormwater infrastructure. Now, this is interesting. I'm wondering if this was put in post 2011 or not. You'd investigate that and find out if it has now removed the chance of the area flooding now because they've put in measures to drain that water away. You'd have to investigate that yourself. Okay, I'm sorry, it's gone 12 and a half minutes. Roads and rail. So we've got information here about road noise. So obviously the darker it is, the noisier it is because that's a busier street. Then you've got information about not just the road noise, but the rail noise. So there's a train line nearby. And then we've got air quality from traffic. And so it's saying that the air quality in this hot pink area, it's in air quality corridor B. So you'd want to investigate that. But if you were buying near there, you can see there's a lot of parkland there. Here, looks like that particular home is safe. Regulated parking. So you can see that this home is located in an area where there's regulated parking. You can't just park on the street, or your friends and visitors can't just come and park there for days. Lifestyle. Here we can see, I love this information. School catchments. Next page. Primary school. Sorry, I'm still thinking about schools. You've got cycle network. And so you can see the different colours is the different cycle networks. Riverwalk Cycle says there's good service to this home from Bicycle Network. Then you've got council parks. What a good thing. You can see that this side over here, where your home is a lot greener than this side over here, where there's no park nearby some of these homes. Next is, I love this one. If you've got a dog, there's a dog park. How close is that? You can walk to the dog park. And if your dog gets bored with that dog park, there's a dog park up here. Love it. Okay, this is the last page in the report, and it's tracks and trails. If you like to walk before work, when you get home from work, or on the weekends, just to interact with nature without going too far, look at this. This property is perfect just for walking through here. And that concludes my assessment of the Homesnoop property reports. I hope you loved it as much as I do. I don't get paid anything by these guys. I just think it's a great tool for people looking to buy a property. And it really gives you so much information that I've already taught you. In this module, you'll learn how to find out this information yourself, but it's just done for you. It's not all the information that you need. Like, it doesn't have flight paths. It doesn't have mobile phone towers. There's other things it doesn't have, but it has a lot. Brilliant. I'll see you in the next video.